What's up, y'all? And of course, welcome to another alternative factuals video. And this video we'll be talking about Black Lightning. Now, even though Black Lightning is not currently running in terms of it's an off season and the season currently ended for season 2, we're going to talk about season 3 and the possibilities that we're going to kind of see going forward. But before I jump into anything specific, please be sure to like, share, and of course subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you feel about these shows and these theories and whatever I'm kind of putting in these videos. And without further ado, let's kind of jump right into it. So season 2, we already left off with the fact that the ASA, the American Security Agency, now know that Black Lightning is in fact the school teacher Jefferson Pierce. So we know that already. So that means things are going to get a lot more interesting for the family, because they know that not only Jefferson Pierce is a part of it, but both of his daughters and his wife was very much aware. And I'm pretty sure that means that they know Gambi, simply because Gambi used to work for the ASA as like one of those metahuman recruiters. So what can we expect going forward in season 3? Now, we already know that Tobias is actually already in jail. And not just a regular jail, he's in like some prison where they threw away the key, laser gated, all that. So we know we're not going to be seeing him, at least not so much of him in season 3, but we might see glimpses of him and see what's kind of going on in his head, because we already know Tobias is going to plan on making a return. Hopefully that would mean we don't see him in season 4 per se, but we should be able to see him around at some point. But I still stand behind the fact that with all this science and all this stuff going on, that I still feel like Tobias should be able to kind of figure out a way to achieve power. And the smart way to do it for a show like this, especially with the history of Black Lightning and Tobias, it should be some way, shape, or form magic related, but I'll get into that a little later. So we already know that Jennifer's a generator. She can create her own power. We already know that Anissa, she can change her density. Lynn, she specializes in creating and kind of, modifying metahuman genes and stuff like that. So we already know these things about the characters. So since we know that this is really what's going on with these different characters and TV shows, what can we expect going forward in season 3 with the whole ASA and Sakovia? So since Sakovia currently is the second most powerful in terms of those who possess metahumans, there's going to be a massive war in the streets of Freeland, as well as going to be a back and forth between the Sakovians and what we have going on in this fictional land that's based off of America, right? So Sakovia, as they mentioned, I think even in the second to last episode, is they already had a couple metahumans, especially back from the 60s when Jefferson was created, because they have been trying to make these metahuman products and make these metahuman beings so that way they can have the most powerful army on the planet. But ever since the whole green light experiment from the ASA from back in the 60s, there's kind of been a shift in power where Freeland is actually one of the places that has one of the higher amounts of metahumans, simply because we initially thought it was maybe that it was Black Lightning who was the only one who had these abilities, but later on in the season we find out it's not just Black Lightning. We also have a Piranha who was actually Jennifer's psychologist or therapist, who she had telepathic abilities. Then obviously we have Jennifer and Nissa. We have also these assassins that came from Sakovia who were kind of bound or kind of started out in Freeland. We have Tobias, who created Khalil, enhanced people who are not necessarily born with abilities, but they are enhanced with some sort of technology or something that made them kind of lethal at some point that they're not naturally born with. We still have people who were actually initially created in the 60s, who were in those freezers that the ASA currently has. We still have a few metahumans that are out there in the streets that are still kind of dealing with the repercussions of their powers kind of manifesting. So Freeland right now is number 1 on the radar, because they have the most metahumans inside of the world right now, at least since they're not a part of the whole Arrowverse thing. So we're not going to get into the whole fact that the Flash and Central City might have more or whatever, because currently as of right now they're not really included. But with all this information that we found out just from season 2 alone, and a little bit of what we know from season 1 as well, what we can see going forward is definitely there's going to be a huge massive war. There's going to be a lot of casualties, but also this is going to be the season that they're going to take the time to introduce a lot of different characters. And they already took the time to kind of introduce some of the characters in this season. Like I said, we've seen Piranha, who in the comic books, even though she was a white woman, they used the character, the essence of a character, to kind of introduce her in season 2, and then she's going to play a bigger role probably in season 3 just due to the nature of her powers and the fact that she also was being chased after by some Sakovian assassins. But we're also going to experience some more of the other metahumans that we saw, like the Purdy, I believe, when Anissa went to this weird kind of bayou-like section of Freeland, or some sort of weird place where it was basically like the blacks and whites versus each other, but the whites seemed to have some sort of enhanced ability due to some woman who had like this silver-like ability, and then she was able to put it inside of people, which gave them physical strength and enhanced them. So that's something very interesting. That's something I would like to see going forward. I'm pretty sure we're going to see more of them, or at least get more backstory on what's going on with that, especially because Anissa's ex-girlfriend now, who's kind of going ghost, who can shapeshift, she has these abilities, and we're not really sure what's going to be going on with her. So that's something we can definitely expect to see going on in season 3. But also, to jump back into it, we're going to have a massive war. Now, war, like I said, has casualties. There are people who are going to die, but they're going to introduce a lot of characters, which means we're going to see some very interesting powers. We already have like lightning-based powers. We already have wind-based powers. We already have people who can freeze and exude fire and stuff like that. We have people who are really in here, like in these streets, like with those kind of powers. But what can we really see in terms of powers? Like, I wouldn't say we're going to see like reality warping or anything like that, but I can say we might expect people who can manipulate matter, for example. Not so much on like a universal scale or anything like that, but people who can manipulate atoms, or morph things that are already existent. You can expect to see people who can read minds or control people, or just somehow they can morph their bodies into different things. I would say we can start to see powers a lot more similar to what we saw in Static Shock in the animated series. So that's something we can kind of expect going forward. We have people who had like abilities to turn into birds. We had a lot of different aspects of powers that we can expect to see in Black Lightning, just simply because they both kind of similar in a lot of ways, but not exactly. Now, I wouldn't even be surprised if somehow we found out that there's somebody with a metahuman ability who can kind of move and turn into a shadow, and then is like one of the world's best thieves or one of the world's best assassins because he can. We already got a character who actually is an assassin who can teleport. So these powers are going to start to get out of control, and this is stuff that Black Lightning previously had never dealt with. For the most part, he dealt with people who are on street level kind of things, where he dealt with Tobias, who was enhanced, who were using this kind of enhanced steroid where it gave him strength, it causes aging to slow down and all that stuff. But he's never really encountered someone who was not only born with these abilities, but abilities that can combat his, where he in the TV show is not a generator. Jennifer is. Anissa can, kind of, obviously that's her ability to increase and decrease her density, whatever. But these are people he's never faced before, and it's kind of hard to combat someone who can teleport, where you can blast them, they can move somewhere else. You can blast them, they can move 2 blocks away. And then dealing with people who are a lot more dangerous in a lot of ways than Tobias, just due to their sheer physical power, it will cause a problem in season 3. So you can expect to see a lot of action. But let me know what you think is going to happen in season 3. Any feelings or any theories or anything like that you may have going on in your head. But if you're new to the channel, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Share this with your friends. Anyone who likes Black Lightning, let them know. And I hope to see you later on. Peace out.